Hello, welcome back. Today we are infilling my nails which have rubber base on them. If you have been following recently, you'll know it's my most recent favourite product. The rubber base is by CJP Nails and in the shade Love Letter. These nails have been on for 3 weeks, which just tells you that my nails don't grow very fast. They look a bit different when I push the cuticles back, but there's not that much growth there for 3 weeks. Look at that. Well, never mind. Let's get to it by starting with pushing back my cuticles. After pushing back my cuticle, I've already made a start on removing some of the dead skin around the cuticle area off with this drill piece. And look how much has come off, which is why you need to remove it. If you leave it, that will make your nail lift. Apologies for moving around, I'm just trying to find an angle where you can actually see. As you can see, only ever so slightly you want to push your cuticles back, and a little bit at a time. There's no need to ram it back, it just needs to move a little tiny bit. I am going to use this drill piece on the entire part of my natural nail bed, so all the bit back that has grown, because you'll be surprised how much dead skin comes off there. I just think it's a little bit more delicate than a sanding band as well. With a sanding band at this point, you'd have to hold it at a certain angle to try and get all of that area, which is a little bit difficult, and sometimes if you make little mistakes you can damage your nail. So yeah, that's why I'm going to use this bit on the entire exposed natural nail. You can get drill pieces like this that are slightly bigger. I do have a slightly bigger one, but I often use my tiny one for infilling, just so you can get into the small space between your natural nail and the product. So before applying your dehydrator and primer, you want to rinse your hands. You can use a brush, and I have in the past several times, but I just feel that sometimes you don't get everything off. There's still a bit of residue. Because that residue is like little bits, sometimes you end up sealing that under the gel polish. It's not a great look. I don't always dehydrate and prime the entire nail. Sometimes I just do my natural nail, I haven't found it to really make a difference, if I'm honest. Going in with my primer that is looking worse for wear. It's done its job though, it's now running out and I would order it again, it's done me justice. Same process as the dehydrator, so I'll speed it up a bit so you don't have to see the same old thing. So here it is again, CJP Rubber It, the best product out there at the moment. I know I said my nails haven't grown much in the 3 weeks, however when I look back on photos they do look a lot longer each time, and they're getting towards me being able to shape them a little bit more pointy, because I don't like them this round, but they just look obviously dead weird when they're pointy and they're really short. So the first layer that goes on, as I always say, you keep it real thin, so at the base of my nail it will be so hard to see on camera. Even when you're doing it in real time, actually, it's that thin that you can still see your nail bed, and that's how it should be. If you're doing it any thicker, they'll just really struggle to cure. I promise you can see me doing the other nails, by the way. And I noticed on this nail that there's a bit of a gap, if you can see it just there. For the sake of the video and for you to see the infill process, I am going to infill it as I am with the other nails, but it's likely that I'm going to have to soak it off and start again. Just like when a nail lifts from the bottom, if you leave this nail lifting like this, if water's getting in there, it's likely to completely lift anyway, but if you try and keep it on and water sits between the two, then you start getting that mouldy nail look, so your natural nail will start going green. Remember to always cap your free edge. I know some people will say you don't need to with this product, but it's a really good habit to have, and I don't see why you wouldn't seal the product like you do with any other. Just make sure you keep it thin again, and you want to push down like so with the product so that you're creating a neat line at the very bottom of your nail, so right near the cuticle. That's how you create the neat cuticle lines. I don't know what else to really call it, just a really neat cuticle. Sometimes it works better than other times because, I mean, nobody's perfect, but yeah, that's how you create a neat line or curve. It's sort of a curve, isn't it? You know what I mean. Right, my first coat is on, so I'm going to cure in the LED lamp for 60 seconds. Now, you ladies will understand what I mean with the weird, like, hand positions, but sometimes if you put your whole hand in, the side of your thumb doesn't cure properly, so I always cure my thumbs and clients' thumbs separately. Nothing new though, I'm sure many of you would have seen that technique before. I'm now going in with my second coat, although I'm doing it a little bit thicker, particularly in the apex area. I keep it still quite thin. Now, gosh, I don't know how to say this without it sounding contradictory. So where your apex is, so at the very base of your nail, where there's hardly any product, you can start to build it up a little bit thicker there. Remember not to over the top because it will still struggle to cure. But then where the rest of the enhancement is, because there's already quite a lot of product, I keep that bit quite thin. So it's still one layer that you're doing, it's still a fresh layer, but the bulk of your product will want to go at the base of your nail because that's where you need some build up. There's nothing there, remember. And then keep the rest quite thin and always cap the free edge. Remember to go with the flow, guys. You do find your own little knickknacks, because when I first started doing builder gel nails, I would see loads of people swirling on like large amounts of product, and you'd see the video and you'd see how they'd turn out great, but when I've tried to mimic that, sometimes the nails wouldn't cure because I was simply putting on too much. So although you think, oh, you shouldn't brush it on, you should be swirling it, you'll know once the product's on your nail what you need to do to move that product. And sometimes all it takes is stroking it, especially when you've got a foundation like we have now, because we've already done the fresh set and we're now infilling. So when you've got a fresh set is probably when you'll use more product to build up those nails. But now, like I said, we've got our foundation, you don't need loads and loads of product. And trust me, I know it can feel frustrating when you're on the third coat and you think, why are they not built up enough? They need a fourth coat. But honestly, it's so much better to do multiple thin coats than to build up your product and think this is going to make it quicker. And then you go to cure it and they don't cure properly and they're just thick, bulky. You can touch the nail and it leaves indents. Honestly, just take your time and, like I said, go with the flow. Remember to push down your product so you're creating that neat cuticle line, curve, whatever you want to call it. My thumb is actually a good example because for some reason, even though I feel like I'm doing the same, my thumbs always turn out impeccable compared to my other nails. I know you may not need to do this so much on your first coat anyway, but once you get to your second and your third and beyond, you want to self-level by turning your hand upside down. Now, when you turn it upside down, try and tilt it forward so that your fingertips are pointing towards the floor, because the last thing you want is product running into the cuticle. So if you can't keep your hand completely flat, tilt it forwards this way. you look at your nails from different angles, particularly the side, you'll see places where you're missing product. So here there's a bit of a dip in the nail, if you can see just here, so where I could build up a little bit more product. See the gap that I mentioned earlier? I mean, the way we've put the product on is great, but it needs to be soaked off and started again so that the product is bonded to the nail. Once you're happy that you've got enough coverage and thickness, you can go in with your top coat. I've got to say, I've been contemplating sending my top coat back. I mean, it's not the worst, but it's also not the best. I think I got quite a dodgy one. Like, it must have come from a dodgy batch because, yeah, it's a bit bitty. So, and it's been like that since the first time I used it. Now, that's what made me paranoid as well about when you file your nail and then brush it off with like a duster brush. And I know a lot of people do it, but you're best off just rinsing your hands. Get every single bit off. I know I often stress it, but keep capping and keep layers thin even with the top coat. I think this actually comes from paranoia, top coating and then drilling, because I don't even know if that's the normal process, but I always top coat before I drill. I feel weird that enhancements are always still a bit sticky when you haven't put top coat on, so I just can't bear the feeling of starting to drill over the sticky nail. So I mean, do whatever suits you though. If there's other videos out there that tell you to just drill straight away, that's fine. This is just the way I do it. I've always done it like this and I probably still will. Is it wasting product? Sort of feels like it, but again, I just can't bear putting the drill onto the sticky nail. I feel like I'm just gonna mess it up and then all my hard work will be trashed. Now, my drill doesn't actually have the RPM, like the numbers on it. However, you can probably see by looking at the sanding band how lightly you need it on. I don't think I've ever even used my drill ever at half the power that it can emit, if that even makes sense. You know what I mean. Sorry, I don't know why I found that so hilarious. I was looking for the right word. I think I found it. But yeah, anyway, really light when you're drilling. Make sure there's no shine left on your nails, so you need to have covered all of the nail just to ensure it's nice and smooth, and so they are as even as possible. Try and get really close to the cuticle area as well, so the very edge, so that you are covering the entire nail without cutting yourself, please. Could go back to one of the ball pieces. I mean, I've never done it. I like to use the sanding band at this point, so it's all the same as well. But I mean, if it works for you and you think you're going to cut yourself, then that's just an idea. Sometimes it does actually make it easy to hold back your skin, so you're not actually catching your skin, and you can go around the edge of the nail a little bit easier. Yes, you probably don't want to hold your e-file as close to the tip of it like as I do, but this is how I hold a pencil as well. I'm that person who, you know, in school when you're writing for such a long time, because your technique was actually incorrect, even though my writing is actually very neat, you've got like the dents in your fingers. So yeah, that's how I've always done it, and my nails turn out fine, so that's how I will continue to do it. Finally, you're going to file, so your nails are exactly how you want them to be shaped. I'm obsessed in a bad way at how annoying this pinky is, but we will fix it. Once you're happy with the shape, you want to rinse your hands again. Remember, you don't want any of those bits. I mean, I definitely haven't done that. Like, I haven't missed rinsing my hands since having this product, which is why I'm blaming the product. It was not me this time. But anyway, I have to stick with it because it was very expensive. No, I do feel like each time I've used it, it's less and less bitty. I don't know if that's because all the bits are starting to go. I don't know, but it's really annoying. One other thing I found about this top coat, I'm really not meaning to come down on this top coat because I think the Rubber It, the base, is fantastic. But one thing I've noticed is, now I always top coat before doing patterns. If I know what colour I'm doing straight away, I'll put the colour on after drilling and rinsing. But lately, when I've put top coat on and then put a pattern or colour on top of this top coat, it starts like fading before I put it, so I have to quickly put it into the lamp. Again, I'm really not meaning to come down, I'm just being really honest because then you can probably learn from my mistakes. So if you know what colour you're having and you use this top coat, put your colour on straight after the filing and the rinsing. It's only because, like, I've top coated now because at this point I don't even know what colour I'm having, don't know what pattern I'm having. Sometimes I do them the next day because I'm that unsure. So yeah, just learn from my mistakes. I know on camera they look lovely, but it was leaving little tiny bits at first. Like I said, it seems to have gotten better the more I've used it, and I think, if I do say so myself, these nails look really good. So yeah, let me know what you think. the standard close-ups. You get to see some now, some when I've put the cuticle oil on. You know what I'm like. And there they are, the rubber base infills. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. See, I told you about the thumb. The thumbs always look great. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.